I just experienced the stories we tell in Nelson, and it was just so human, and it felt like having a moment of hope and humanity.
Absolutely loved it. It was absolutely amazing. It was so well put together. The passion and the warmth and the love of Nelson shone through.
That was so nice. I honestly have nearly cried so many times.
I loved how you can hear the stories of people growing up here. It was a really beautiful way to capture a moment in time.
I grew up in Nelson, very familiar with all the areas we went to tonight,
Yeah, and there were so many people of different ages and backgrounds.
That's right,
that
yeah.
got to tell their story in their own words.
That's
It was
right,
fantastic.
The visuals, I was really not expecting them, and I love how embedded it was. Kind of really animated it, and being in the school, everything, the library, Clark's hardware store, and just thought it was beautiful, really lovely. Had me in tears.
Not only was the image onto the wall, but our shadows.
Yes, our
were
shadows
cast onto it.
were across the bottom.
So it's almost like we were part of it.
That's right, yeah.
Part of the projection, and just brought it to life a lot more, didn't it?
It did. Yeah, it was good.
The visual and the audio was so immersive, and I think it was just such a positive and amazing school. Like the stories from the people, the artwork from the kids, it was brilliant.
To hear voices of positivity, of love and kindness was life-inspiring, life-affirming story that has left me feeling good to be alive.
It's just such a joy to do the walk and feel the community around you, and it's not just sitting in a theatre, which is also wonderful, but you have to use your own imagination. You're in it, so it's just not like anything else. It's just the most wonderful experience. It really opened my eyes to the history of the town, and I know that when I come back I will look at it in an entirely different way.
I guess what was nice were the moments where you had one person saying, "Oh, I love that statue in the middle. I love that," and then another person speaking quite honestly about how they thought it was rubbish. You know, that kind of humanity. You don't get all the kind of Nelson's wonderful. You get Nelson warts and all, and people with different views, and people talking about struggles with poverty. So I liked that kind of realism.
In the 60s, 70s, it just seemed as though everything had come to a standstill. There's no mills. But you see, it's risen again. You know, we've got different industries coming in. I suppose keeps coming and going, isn't it? It's just like any other place. It's got its ups, and then all of a sudden there's a downward spiral, and then we come up again. It's not a bad old time, really.
I think Nelson's got a lot going for it in terms of new people coming to the area for the first time and being welcomed and settled.
That's right, yeah.
And integrated. It strikes me there's a real can-do attitude here as well.
Sort of brought back memories of my childhood in Nelson, because I've always lived here. And one gentleman talking said he'd been all over the world, but still found Nelson more or less the place to be. And when you live in Nelson, you always come back to your roots, don't you?
It was emotional. I started crying almost straight away because my mum and dad moved here when I was like 4, and then I left to go to London in my mid-20s, and then recently came back a couple of years ago, so it made me feel really proud to come back. Mum and dad live around the corner from now, and also just wanted to be in nature. It's the best thing I've done, to be honest.
What really came home to me tonight when local people were telling their stories was how much they valued where they lived, but also the environment around them. Pendle Hill was mentioned so much.
Yes, it kept getting mentioned a lot of times.
The images on the house at the end were stunning. It makes me want to go to Pendle Hill. I've never been there. I've heard about it. I've heard about the Pendle Witches. I've never been on Pendle Hill, but I want to go.
Wherever you go up in Nelson, you have to come down. You know. It's good for the legs. When you live here, you get Lancashire legs.
There's rich stories to be told, aren't there?
Yeah.
It just makes you feel like you belong somewhere if you're feeling a little bit isolated in yourself. I came away feeling, I can belong.
I'm so proud of Nelson. You know, it's home. Won't live anywhere else.